before I begin, I
Yes.
have to say I have to announce it.
Yes.
That you will no longer be hearing no creaky squeaky noises because I have purchased the chair that Sarah told me to purchase like 4 months ago. Haha.
Finally.
Yes, and it is very comfy. I will say for $30, this is a really
Right?
comfy chair.
It's a good
Yeah.
deal. It's a very good bargain. So now we have matching chairs.
We have matching chairs. Yay. And also, like, I was like, Alex, please, I'm going to go teach class. Can you please put this chair together? And he was like, oh, my God, this chair is going to be... Because a lot of the time, some chairs, they come in, like, it's like a little box and everything's in pieces. But he was like, this is like a Lego.
Yeah.
He's like, this is just like putting things together and that's it.
Jared set mine up, too. I was like, honey, please. And he was like,
Honey.
fine. And then he was like, oh, click, click. We're done.
Yay.
So
$30.
perfect.
30
$30
bucks, guys.
So, man, what a deal. So, welcome to Story Sirens, the podcast that deep dives into mythology and hilarity and good deals on chairs.
Yes, very much. So honestly, though, I went the other day to go buy a chair. Chairs are like $90.
Oh, yeah.
$100.
Oh, yeah.
For like a freaking chair that barely moves.
Yeah, Jared
It's not
wants,
right.
like, a new couch for, like, where he games and everything because the couch that's currently there is getting pretty old. And so, I mean, like, it's time. And, like, we're just looking at, like, love seat prices and just going, ugh.
It's like, what kind of inflate? Why do you need to pay $700 for a love seat? My
Exactly.
God.
Exactly. We're just
It's
like,
just not
we
right.
just wanted a little armrest and, you know, something
Yeah.
comfy for our friends so we can, you know, like, watch a movie in there or do something. Is it so much to ask for?
Speaking about comfy being with your friends and
Yeah.
also family,
Ooh.
happy Thanksgiving to our U.S. listeners.
Happy
How are you?
Thanksgiving.
How are you?
This is a call-in show now. Please call in if you need to rant or vent about difficult family members or anything like that. But yes,
Yeah, there you go.
this episode is coming out on Thanksgiving. So,
Mhm.
Yenny, what do you and your family usually do for Thanksgiving? I feel like Thanksgiving doesn't get enough love, so I do want to, like, enjoy the traditions here because I love Thanksgiving. It deserves more attention.
We love it too. I will say, in reality, we do Thanksgiving for the American side. And by
Right.
American side, meaning I'm a first generation born from immigrants who came here from Cuba.
Uh-huh.
And we celebrate Thanksgiving as like, because the Americans celebrate Thanksgiving and we're like, we're American too.
Yeah. Well, and hey, you get to live the dream of your parents wanted to immigrate here, and so that's
Heck yeah.
that's very in line with the origins.
There you go. So, I mean, in reality, our big holiday is Noche Buena, which is, I was going to say October, December
Yeah.
24th. But for Thanksgiving, our immediate family, which is like 12 to 15 of us, 'cause we're a big family, we eat both American and Cuban dishes. So
Yum.
we got our arroz con frijoles,
Yes.
and then we have also like, we also do, what's that dish that you guys make with the potatoes?
Sweet potatoes? Like sweet
There
potato
it is.
casserole?
Yeah, we do it. We only make a little bit because not everybody likes that one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
too sweet.
Mhm.
But we also have the turkey, but we also make the piggy.
Yes.
The ham is usually like an afterthought. Like we put it there on the side.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a lot of like arroz con frijoles, yuca, puerco.
Mhm.
We'll even have chicken sometimes
Yeah.
too. We do, like I said, we love cornbread, so we make
yeah.
cornbread.
My mom and I make a mean skillet cornbread. Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't know because you never give me any.
Madam, the shipping would kill it. It would be a doorstop by the time it made it to your front step. Which, side note, one time when my mom was a newlywed, because she didn't know how to cook when she first got married, except for like the basics, she was making cornbread and she did something wrong in the recipe and it baked so solidly that they did jokingly use it as a doorstop for a couple
Stop.
days. My mom was like, "Oh my gosh."
I love that though.
And my dad
I
was like,
love
"Well,
that.
like we could just like soak it and that sort of stuff." My mom's like, "Who wants to do that? I
No,
messed up the
don't worry,
recipe.
honey.
Like this was my mistake."
Yeah. And then I do also want to give a shout out to green bean casserole. I love green bean casserole. So I make that one too.
Nice.
And yeah, we also have like a nacho dip every time.
I love it.
We love 7-layer nacho dips.
Yes.
So I make them.
Yes.
And it's delicious. delicious. And now, recently, Sushi Bake has become the newest
Yes.
addition
I love
to
Sushi
our
Bake.
Thanksgiving. So our Thanksgiving table is just like a bunch of like random things.
Yes.
And for 5 years in a row now, too, Alex's family will like make a dish for us.
Oh, that's
And
great.
like we'll bring it too, and it's hilarious. So you got China, you got Japan, you got Cuba, you got United States.
Welcome to the melting pot. I love it.
That's Miami for you. But yeah, what is it that you guys do for Thanksgiving?
So, this is actually really fun because like my mother-in-law is like super, super traditional with Thanksgiving. Like she loves the turkey. She'll make mashed potatoes. She makes mashed rutabagas, which I had never had before, like marrying Jared and everything. But like she loves a classic Thanksgiving. And I grew up never having a classic Thanksgiving because like my family and I were just like, turkey's turkey. Like who cares? So like we would make a ham or we would like roast a duck or like there was one Thanksgiving that my parents had done a quail hunt. And so like they deep fried all the quail and we served it with biscuits and gravy, which I was like, this is the best Thanksgiving ever. It was so good.
You never invite me.
Listen, this happened before I knew you, and now I'm going to start cooking for you all the time. Once you're nearby, you're going to gain so much weight. But anyway.
Nearby? We're going to be like 4 hours away from each other.
That's nearby compared to what we currently are, Missy. But so anyway, now our Thanksgivings have started combining where my mom is there, my mother-in-law is there, which is really nice. And so, now we're just sort of like, my mother-in-law brings out the champagne and she wants a shrimp cocktail and a pumpkin pie, and she makes a really nice pumpkin pie. And my mom and I are like, okay, sweet potato casserole. And we don't make it super sweet, but like for me, that's what I always want every single year. And my mom's like, okay, let me make it real quick because she's just like, here you go. And then we will make cranberry and orange relish to go with like the ham and stuff, and then kind of going with your beans and corn.
Yes,
we will make a lot of times what we call cowboy corn casserole or something, where it's
cowboy corn casserole.
I know, where it's corn and jalapenos and tomatoes. Sometimes we'll throw in like rotel for like the hatch chilies and everything, and a little cream cheese and like some pepper jack and lots of pepper, and you bake it. And
that sounds delicious.
It's wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
We never have quite like the same meal every year, but whenever we do figure out the menu, like we just eat so much. And this year we're actually celebrating Thanksgiving a little bit early because we're celebrating it up where my mom lives in Idaho. So we're trying to like bypass the bad weather. And so we're like, okay, we'll get there a little bit early so that nobody gets like snowed in and then everybody comes home.
Yeah. And just for you guys to know, whenever Sarah goes up and down from Idaho or anywhere, that's when Yenny and Sarah have their like 2-hour-long phone conversations.
It's existential crises and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, you'd think we see each other every week. What can we talk about? There's never enough time to talk.
You know that meme of like friendship is just sending each other funny memes back and forth until one day one of them randomly calls you crying. That's us.
That's us. Completely.
So, Yenny, since it is Thanksgiving, what if we do a themed episode?
Oh, okay. I like this. And how about, Sarah, we've been talking about casseroles and beans and rice and all the other things, but we never give love to the fruit salad in the corner of the freaking table,
Right.
Because we all like fruits, we don't think about them. Right?
At Thanksgiving.
And so, at Thanksgiving, but fruit is necessary, specifically if it's magical fruit salad. Coming from mythology.
Perfect. So, before we go further, we should probably remind our listeners that you should never eat food from a fairy feast.
Even if they're hot.
Don't
do it.
That's like rule number 1 in fairy tales. But while all of us are enjoying our safe, non-bewitched Thanksgiving dinners, why don't we enjoy some famous legends and focus on famous foods in mythology?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get hungry.
Oh, we're so going to get hungry this episode. And I know just where to begin. Drum roll, please. The pomegranate.
Ooh.
So we all saw this one coming. We're going to cover the pomegranate in mythology to start out. The pomegranate is famous in the myth of Hades and Persephone, which will be an episode eventually, but we'll do a brief overview here. After being kidnapped and taken to the underworld by Hades, the god of death, Persephone, the goddess of spring, knew not to eat any food while she was in the underworld, as it would bind her to the underworld. In some versions of the myth, Persephone plucks a pomegranate from a tree in the underworld because she thinks it's pretty, and in other versions, Hades lays a feast before her with pomegranates as the star of the meal. And in yet other versions, other deities and magical beings prompt Persephone to eat the pomegranate.
I like the version where Persephone falls in love and eats the pom-pom to get away from her obvious helicopter mommy.
So, after seeing that Demeter, Persephone's mother, refuses to help plants grow and that humanity is suffering as the world grows cold from Demeter's despair, Zeus finally intercedes and instructs Hades to release Persephone. Hades says he will let her go so long as she has not eaten any food from the underworld. But by this point, Persephone had eaten 6 pomegranate seeds, and in various myths, it's sometimes 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 6.
Damn girl,
Oh well.
she like it.
So Hades and Zeus come to an agreement. Persephone will spend 6 months of the year in the underworld with Hades as his bride, and the other 6 months she will spend with her mother tending to the plants of the world. So now we know where winter and summer come from.
I'd also like to believe that this is where currently the most famous fandoms reside. Listen to me
Yes.
real quick. One fandom loves the hot, devilishly, morally gray character and the whole, enemies to lovers plot line. And then you have the other fandom, or, not even fandom, the other, little niche, which is just stay-at-home moms who, garden and then, also make food preparation videos, like lunch for my kids. And then
I don't know, those both sound very cute.
that's my problem because I'm in the middle. I love them both.
Yes!
I'm I would love to be a stay-at-home mom, but I think I wouldn't be able to do it because at some point I'm going to want to, I don't know, jump out a window from being with my kids all the time. So it's just, listen, when I was a baby, I was
You were a lot.
I was hurricane, category 5 all the time. So,
Hurricane Yenny.
yeah. So, I mean, I now get it that why my mom put me always in after school activities because she's
yeah.
I needed you to come home and just go to sleep. And I
We
was
needed to spend some of that energy.
Oh, yeah.
So, with the overview of the myth of Persephone and Hades, why is the pomegranate the star of this myth? Well, staying within Greek mythology, the pomegranate was considered a symbol of death, and it was called the fruit of the dead. On the flip side, it was also a symbol of life and fertility, with strong ties to Aphrodite and Hera, goddesses of love and childbirth, respectively. In fact, drinking pomegranate juice was long believed to be a cure for infertility.
It is also great for your heart, brain, and skin. Plus, it is an anti-inflammatory. So, there you
We
go.
love you, pomegranate.
Oh, yes, we do.
Now, while we associate the pomegranate with Greek myths, the fruit is not native to Greece. It actually comes from Iran. And for early Christians in Iran, the pomegranate was believed to be the true forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. During Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year celebration, pomegranates are often eaten as they supposedly contain 613 seeds, which corresponds to the number of laws in the Torah.
That's a lot of seeds.
That is a lot of seeds. And in Buddhism, the pomegranate is one of the 3 blessed fruits, peaches and lemons being the other 2. But that's enough pomegranates for now. What else is on the menu?
All right, I had to do this one. And we're going to talk about the peaches of immortality. And
Ooh.
unlike Justin Bieber likes to say, there are other places to get peaches from aside from Georgia.
Yes, like Fredericksburg, Texas.
Ooh, Fredericksburg. You told me about that one, didn't?
Yeah, it's a cool little town.
Yeah, Oktoberfest, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I remembered. All right. Can we all agree that the song is catchy, though, real quick?
Got my pizza down in Georgia.
Da-da-da. All right. Anywho, Belieber fever aside, peaches hold a special place in Chinese culture. And if you remember, we kind of touched on them back in our Monkey King 2-part special.
Woo!
The story of the peaches of immortality begins with the goddess Zhiwangmu. known as the Queen Mother of the West and wife to the Jade Emperor, who rules over heaven. Shi Huangmu was known to grow peach trees in her orchard, which would bear peaches, or pantao in Mandarin, every 3,000 years.
I thought planting garlic had a long wait time. 3,000 years?
Yeah, I'm guessing to an immortal person, 3,000 years might be something like 3 months, maybe.
Yeah, but if you're wanting these peaches for immortality, you're out of luck.
Yeah, well, you can't have it easily. So,
Golly.
to celebrate the long-awaited ripening of her peaches, that sounds really...
That sounds really naughty.
Naughty! How naughty of you, darling! Well, to celebrate the long-awaited ripening of her peaches.
Of her peaches.
The goddess holds a peach banquet in heaven.
A peach banquet?
Yeah, where Sarah and I are right now not on the list for making fun of this.
We're so not on the list.
For a human to eat these peaches would mean they'd obtain immortality and longevity. While the peach banquet is only held for celestial beings, 2 humans have ever been recorded to eat one of Shi Huangmu's peaches.
Good
King Mu of the Western Zhao dynasty passed the Kunlun Mountains, where Shi Huangmu is said to have the orchard and reside in. And the goddess treated him to peaches and wine. Damn, girl. So, maybe she was playing JB's song in the background.
Peaches and chill?
Oh, yeah. Would you like to peaches and vibe with me? Anywho, he vibed with her for quite a while, and once he left, he could never find the location again. So in other words, she made him do the walk of shame out of there and then was like, ghosted him. So it wasn't, King Mu was not that good. Apparently I'm thinking
I guess so.
Yeah.
That was, man, like a divine one-night stand.
Yeah, a divine one-night stand.
And then to be ghosted by that divinity, like,
that's not cool.
Oh,
man.
that is a walk of shame.
Technically, though, if he had a one-night stand with her and she is the wife of the emperor, of the Jade Emperor, it's not going to go well for him if he goes to heaven. You know?
No.
So, continuing on, our second human, Emperor Wu of the Han Dynasty, was actually given 4 peaches as gifts. And of course, the emperor became obsessed and passed down the pits of the peaches for many generations. But humans weren't the only ones who tried to get a juicy bite. In fact, a certain monkey tried and succeeded to eat every single delicious morsel of the immortal fruit once during the banquet. You can learn more by checking out episode 4 and 5.
I miss Monkey King and Friends.
I do too. But this is when he was a bad boy.
I know, but still.
Yeah, he's a good boy now. Or is he? In modern times, peaches are a symbol of longevity and prosperity. I was surprised to find that peaches actually came from China and later on would be transported to different parts of the world.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Alexander the Great actually introduced peaches to Europe after his voyages. And although the U.S. is now the biggest producer of peaches, guess what? Your peach cobbler, which you still owe me, Sarah.
I'm working on it.
Wasn't a thing until the 1500s when Spanish explorers brought them to the Americas.
Ooh, peach cobbler.
Peach cobbler.
So anywho, moving from peaches to our next favorite cobbler variety.
Oh,
apples? Anyone? In Norse mythology, the goddess Ithune was a fertility deity associated with apples and youthfulness. In fact, her name means ever young or the rejuvenating one. And why apples and youthfulness, you might ask? Well, because Ithune was responsible for the apples the gods ate to keep themselves young.
Well, ain't that nice?
Right? And isn't that a plot twist? The Nordic gods weren't actually immortal. They were just very long-lived.
Huh.
But I digress. So, when Loki kidnapped Ithune and gave her to a giant to marry, planning to keep all of her golden apples for himself, because of course he kidnapped her, the gods had an absolute fit because they couldn't find Ithune when their hair began to turn gray.
Oh, the horror of gray hairs.
Horror. So, in fact, they were so upset by her absence that when they discovered that Loki was the one responsible for her missing, they told him that he could either get her back from the giant or he could pay with his own life. So Loki turns into a falcon, sneaks into the giant's territory, turns Ithun into a nut, and carries her back to the gods.
A nut?
A nut, yeah.
Well.
So that he could carry her in his little falcon talons.
His little falcon talons. Achoo.
know, right?
Here you go, Ithun.
Right,
Let's
just
go. Why didn't he turn into one of the falcons in Sinbad's story that apparently it picks up diamonds or shits them out? I don't even know. That story is still weird to me.
That story is still so weird. So, while Ithun has only a couple of appearances in Norse mythology, she's still an important character. After all, she is the reason the gods can live for so long. In the Nordic poem, I apologize to anyone who speaks any languages. In the Nordic poem Hauslung, Ithun is called the old age cure for the gods, as well as the maiden who understood the eternal life of the Aesir, the gods. In her myth, Ithun is rightfully married to Bragi, the god of poetry and storytelling. So perhaps there's a correlation between immortality and sharing stories.
Aw, I love that, Sarah. Perhaps we shall always be young for choosing a creative life.
Absolutely. So many historians believe that at one point, Ithun's fruit might not have actually been apples. There is evidence the apples became part of the story due to Greek influence around the 10th century, as Hera was known to grow apples of immortality, and Christian influence around the 13th century, as many believed that the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden was an apple. Before Ithun had apples, she may have had an entirely different fruit or created youthfulness on her own and bestowed it to the other gods. As there was no orchard for the golden apples and Ithun always seemed to have them on her person, there are many theories that the apples were a manifestation of Ithun's eternal youthfulness that she could give to others. Interesting, right?
You think she has her own skincare line? Because I would buy it.
Ooh, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Ithun. Yeah.
You know, actually, this is really funny that I don't think there's any skincare that's actually used this goddess as like a part of their marketing.
They totally. Yeah, she should totally be a part of their marketing.
Hell yeah.
I love it. So what's next, Yenny?
All right, we got the origin of ulu, aka breadfruit. Ulu, or breadfruit, is a local plant in Hawaii, which can be eaten as either a fruit or a vegetable, which is crazy.
Pardon?
Yeah. So it looks like you can eat the stalks and also the fruit itself. I'll explain it.
Okay.
It is called breadfruit because when roasted, it actually resembles baked bread.
So this fruit wants to cover the whole food pyramid. It wants to cover the whole food pyramid.
And I'm going to tell you how it actually kind of did. So now the origin story of ulu varies, but we'll be focusing on the one that involves the god of farming and fishing, Ku. Ku would often appear as a mortal and hang out with the humans, which seems to be a growing pattern we see most gods and myths we've covered decide to do with their time.
Right. They just got bored. They're like, hey, humanity.
Yeah,
let's
they're
hang
like,
out.
let's play with them. So one of the times he went to Earth to reside for a while, he met a mortal woman and, of course, fell in love.
Aww.
Ku and his wife lived happily with their children until a horrible famine struck and dried up all the village's food. Now, during this time, I would like to mention that the wife actually did not know that he was a god.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if maybe she just thought he had great skin and never aged. I don't know. And I couldn't see whether it specifies or not if she figured out that he was a god. We'll keep going. In order to save his family and the people of the village, Ku used his powers to sink himself to the ground, knowing that he would never be physically seen again.
Okay. So I know he is actively rescuing everybody by, sinking into the ground and appeasing the drought or whatever it is he's doing. Legend logic.
Yep.
But this very much sounds like an ostrich burying its head in the sand. It's like, I don't want to deal with this. Bring boom.
No. So
he's like, peace out. This is stressful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a little love in this.
I know. I had to get that out real quick.
I will never see this story ever the same way again. Now I'm just thinking that Ku was like, bye, bitch.
Okay. So continue with the story. How does he save everybody?
So his wife weeps onto where he sank, and
Aww.
her tears actually water the soil. A day passes, and where his wife had wept, a plant has grown and then quickly develops into a tree. The tree bore enough fruit for the whole village. And then Ku went into his wife's dreams to instruct her on how to prepare and eat it. Because she's like, okay, what do I do with this?
It's a tree. What do you want?
It's a tree. Like, I thought you were coming back. You brought me a tree. So the fruit nourished the villagers, but only Ku's wife and children were able to pick from the tree. If others tried, the tree would just sink into the ground, be like, nope, boom, bye.
Oh, okay.
So Ku visits his wife's dreams once more and tells her to take some of the shoots from the tree and give it to other villagers so they may grow their own. This story shows us how love knows no bounds and could be an ostrich. I can't say this seriously because I'm thinking of stupid ostrich.
I didn't mean to mess it up for you. It popped in my head.
Aside from Sarah's ostrich thing, this story shows that love knows no bounds and how we do all it takes to ensure our family and friends prosper. In Hawaii, the ulu tree is still sometimes planted when a baby is born as a way to ensure prosperity and nourishment in life.
Aw, that's adorable.
And then sometimes they also have ostrich eggs. JK. They don't have ostrich eggs. That was just Sarah being Sarah. Although I've never tried an ostrich egg, and I've heard they're very good.
I wonder,
but I don't want to eat an ostrich baby.
I know. I'm like, oh, gosh. So
I'll eat the chicken baby, but...
Yeah, that's no big deal. That's fine. Whatever. So, all right. So staying in this part of the world, in Polynesian and Samoan mythology, we have this really cool story of how we got coconuts. So this story is about the king of Fiji who heard of a beautiful girl named Sina. Her beauty was so well known that he decided he just had to see her. After all, if she was as beautiful as the rumors claimed, she would make an excellent wife to a king.
Of course, beauty is all that matters.
Exactly. So, using his magic, he transformed himself into an eel. In other versions, he transforms himself into a tuna.
You mean the chicken of the sea?
The chicken of the sea, babe!
Did you ever watch the Newlyweds show with Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey?
No.
Oh my God. All I remember every time I hear tuna, I have to talk about chicken of the sea because Jessica Simpson legitimately believed that tuna was chicken in this, and she could not understand. She's like,
oh, I do remember this.
Yeah, but if it's fish, then why is it called chicken of the sea? And then I love her.
I know.
That's a fair question.
These blonde moments that just will live in infamy for all of us. Oh, I love it. All right, so the king of Fiji either turned into an eel or the chicken of the sea, which is actually a tuna, and he swam to the pool near Sina's village. Some legends say that he swam to the pool Mata Ole Alelo, and that Sina's village was the village of Matave Safune. Once there, he saw her and was absolutely entranced by her beauty. He also realized there was no way he could marry her. She was a beautiful young woman, and he was way too old for her.
And he was also a fish, so
good points.
Yeah.
So he contented himself with watching her from the pool. However, when Sina eventually saw that an eel was staring at her repeatedly, she was naturally frightened. She screamed and said to the eel, "You stare at me with eyes like a demon." But when the eel didn't swim away despite her scream, Sina watched it closely and thought it was a very friendly eel.
Well, that didn't take long. That's like literally every plot twist now of all the books. You're a demon, but I like it.
So, since she saw that the eel was friendly, unlike the plot twists of all of these romance books that we really enjoy, she didn't fall in love with it. She made it her pet. So, years passed, and the king of Fiji grew older and knew his magic was weakening and his time was short. He revealed himself to Sina, telling her that he was once the king of Fiji, who had disguised himself as an eel so he could see her. He told her he would die soon, and it was his desire that she should bury his head once he had passed. Sina did as was requested, burying his head in the ground after he died.
Like a frickin' ostrich.
So the last of the king's magic went into the ground, and from the spot where his head was buried, a palm tree shot up. Sina gathered the coconuts that the tree provided and shared them with the people of her village. When the days grew hot and the wind was still, the people of the village wove the palm leaves into fans and cool, shady shelters. And when the drought was truly terrible, the water inside the coconuts saved the people from thirst. Legend says that when the husk of the coconut is removed, you can see 3 spots on it, 2 eyes and a mouth that resemble the face of a fish. So even in death, the king could watch over and kiss Sina.
Yeah, I'll never look at a coconut the same way.
So, in other versions of the tale, Sina found the eel, or tuna, in a pool and immediately kept it as her pet, but became frightened as it grew larger and larger. When Sina became so frightened of it that she tried to run away, that is when it told her that it was a king who had used his magic to transform himself to find her, but he was now too old to turn back into a man. But since he had fallen in love with her, he wanted to give her a gift after his death. This is such a cool story about the origin of the coconut to me because palm trees are not native to the Pacific Islands, so this is pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, but it's also a little bit grotesque because, in the Wong household, we love coconut milk and water.
Yeah.
So what? Am I drinking the king's brains or something? Like, this is weird. This is a little weird to me because I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this because I'm not a zombie, Sarah. I don't want to eat someone's brains, especially if he gave his life for love.
Right.
I'm really upset. Jared and Alex better, when they die, they better put their head in the ground and give us a palm tree or something because all these are really nice, these are great, what's it called? Devotion.
Acts
right
of devotion,
now.
These grand gestures. Like, oh my gosh. Like,
I need that. Anywho.
Come on.
Let's keep going. We're actually going to go back towards the apples. If you remember correctly, Sarah had spoken about Greek mythology, having some tales of apples. And of course, I'm going to talk about them.
I'm sorry, just the way you said tales of apples right there. Did you ever watch Enchanted?
Yes.
Okay, remember when like the little squirrel or the little chipmunk is trying to like impersonate the witch and he's like, apple, it's good. That's what your voice just reminded me of. So, okay, proceed.
Yes, we're going to talk 2 more tales, or should I say 2 more apples to add into this story. We've got 85 types of apples, y'all. 86 if you include the golden apples of Greek mythology. Ooh. Hera, queen of the Olympian gods, was gifted a tree that bore golden apples by Gaia, aka basically Earth itself, which is kind of cool if you ask me.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. The tree and its apples were guarded by the Hesperides, 3 nymph maidens known as Aegle. I don't even know if I'm saying these names right. Aegle, Erythia, and Hesper. We're going to say I said them right. If I said them wrong, don't be mean, right? 3 maidens weren't enough for Hera, though, because she got trust issues, as I would, too, if I married Zeus.
Right.
So a dragon by the name of Ladon also guarded the apples.
3 maidens guarding a tree? No big deal. A dragon guarding a tree, though? Like, okay, she's, like, skipped several steps in the, like, security detail.
Yeah. But why were these apples guarded? It was because they were said to grant immortality. And of course, because of said immortality, the garden got looted quite a few times.
Oh, yeah.
One of those times was with our favorite hunk, Hercules.
Hercules!
Yes. Hercules had to grab 3 apples from the garden as per King Mycenae's 12 labors. Noticing that this job could be a tiny bit difficult, he asked for Atlas to help him since he fathered the Hesperides and has access to the garden.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Atlas is obviously holding the sky at this point, but Hercules tells him, bro, I got it. Go get me the apples, and I'll hold on to the literal sky for a little bit.
No big deal.
No big deal. But Atlas didn't realize how much of a stiff neck he had while holding the sky. And when he returns with the apples, he instead tries to smooth talk Hercules into holding the sky for a little bit longer while he, Atlas, gives the apples to the king.
Oh, of course.
Noticing the issue at hand, Hercules obliges, but asks if Atlas could hold the sky for a quick sec while he adjusts his cloak for a smoother squat transition. Atlas, the ever so kind, says, "Sure, bro, I know how important it is to be in a comfortable squat position while lifting the skyo."
That's because Atlas doesn't skip leg day.
Exactly. The gym bro code, though, is totally broken here when Atlas takes back the sky and Hercules literally just walks away. Just takes the apples and walks away, which is totally not cool, man.
Hercules, we expected better from you.
Yeah. Bro code aside, there's one short story I would also like to mention, totally not because Sarah asked me to include it.
It's because it's a good myth.
Yeah. And that would be of the little golden apple that was nicknamed the Apple of Discord, thanks to Eris, goddess of strife and, you guessed it, discord.
I would have never guessed that.
I would have, you know what? Yeah. The wedding of Peleus and Thetis,
who were the parents of the hero Achilles,
there we go, was a party you did not want to miss. And oh, what a burn it'd be if you weren't invited. Cue Eris. Eris was in fact not invited. And when she appeared at the wedding, she was denied entry. That was a big no-no.
We're getting some Maleficent vibes going
on.
Oh,
for sure. In a fit of rage and complete pettiness, Eris threw a golden apple into the party, but not before writing "to the fairest" on it.
Oh.
Athena, Aphrodite, and Hera all went to grab it. And ladies, I would not want to be in the middle of that catfight. Let's just say that catfight was so big, it was a catalyst for the Trojan War.
Oh my gosh. Folks, if 3 rival goddesses ever ask you to choose which of them is the fairest, just go ahead and die on the spot to avoid choosing.
Yeah.
Paris of Troy was in that position, and he chose Aphrodite, which I'm sure he thought was all well and good, but the whole thing was a mess.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe we should just stick to green apples.
Oh, that sounds great. I love green apples.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Yenny, is there anything more romantic than strawberries and champagne?
Well, I think now it would be a good time to remind you that I'm allergic to strawberries, but it's okay. I'll get litty on champagne. What's good?
You and my mother-in-law both allergic to strawberries. It makes me so sad. They're my favorite. So, well, that's okay. That just means more chocolate-dipped strawberries for me on Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
So, why do we, though, associate strawberries with love? I'm glad you asked. So, in Greek myths, because we're back there again, there was a mortal man named Adonis. That name is probably familiar because he was the most handsome man on the earth. In fact, he was so handsome that Aphrodite, the goddess of love herself, became his lover because she absolutely just thought he was wonderful. So sadly, one day while he was out hunting, Adonis was gored by a wild boar.
Ooh.
As he lay dying, Aphrodite rushed to his side and tried to heal him, but his wounds were too terrible and he died in her arms. Her tears mingled with his blood, and when the combination sank into the earth, strawberry plants grew. Isn't that so sad and romantic?
What is it with death and fruits? I don't understand. Must you die for a fruit to come out? Like, I don't know.
In other versions of the story, the blood and tears produce the pomegranate, and in yet others, they produce the anemone flower.
Oh, where Nemo was born? Just kidding. Just kidding.
So, in Cherokee legends, once upon a time, the first man and the first woman got into an argument.
Oh.
The first woman was very angry and told the first man that she was leaving and would never come back. In his anger, the first man told her to go ahead and leave.
That was the first mistake he made. First mistake. We never really mean it.
Right.
Come on now.
Well, and of course, shortly after the argument and shortly after first woman had left, first man began to worry about her, and he went in search for her. The son felt bad for the two mortals having watched this whole argument play out and knowing that it was a silly argument, and he wanted them to be reunited.
What do you think the argument was about?
Oh, he probably didn't do the dishes or something.
They're the first women and first men. There is no dishes.
They could have made dishes. They could have been inventive.
I don't know. I feel like we should, I mean...
What do you think the argument was about?
She asked him, do I look fat in this tree dress? And he said yes. And he's like, well,
Oh.
I mean, you could lose a little weight, and that was the wrong answer.
That's it. She's like, who are you comparing me to? It's just
Oh.
us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the son decides to help reunite the lovers. Oh, Yinny's dying.
It's just. Who did you dream about?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, I'm crying.
Oh, same. Oh my
Ugh.
gosh. Okay.
Whew.
All right. We can do this.
Back to it.
This is very serious. First man and first woman are separated. And son does not like that. The son wants them reunited. So he decides to help. So he sees that the first man is, chasing after the first woman, looking for her. So in order for the first man to be able to catch up to the first woman, the son had fruits grow in the path of first woman with the hopes of slowing her down, as well as calming her anger as she was still very upset. So first, huckleberries sprang up from the earth and, lined her path.
Mm-hmm.
But first woman wasn't interested and just walked right past them, which I'm just like, you're stronger than I am. Anytime I've seen huckleberries, I'm like, nope, we're stopping.
I've never tried huckleberries.
Oh, they're delicious.
Yeah.
In my mind, they're like if blueberries and vanilla had a love child. Like,
Oh.
they're so good. So after that, the sun caused blackberries to spring up from the earth, hoping that would slow her down. But again, first woman was not interested in those either. Finally, the sun had an entirely new berry grow in her path, with bright red fruit to catch first woman's eye, the strawberry. This time, she did stop and decided to eat some of the fruit. She thought the fruit was delicious and sweet, and as she continued to eat it, she thought of all the happy memories she had with her husband. So she gathered some of the strawberries and walked back towards her home. She ran into her husband on the path as he was looking for her, and together they went home and enjoyed the strawberries together.
Aw, that was kind of sweet.
So strawberries became a symbol of love and connection. And for many Native American tribes, strawberries are a symbol of spring and renewal, and June's full moon is actually known as the strawberry moon.
Oh, yeah. We should do an episode on all the moon phases and the titles of the moon that we've seen throughout history, because that'd be pretty cool.
That would be really cool. So a couple other myths for strawberries. In Norse mythology, strawberries were forbidden fruit. Strawberries belonged to Frigga, goddess of marriage, prophecy, and motherhood. And in fact, she was so protective of the fruit that if somebody had even a trace of a strawberry on them when they approached Valhalla, she would send them away. But she had a reason for this. When children passed in infancy, she would hide their souls inside strawberries so they would have a safe journey to the afterlife.
Safe journey to the after? How? They're going to be eaten.
I know. I don't quite understand.
They're getting a safe journey into someone's digestive tract. No wonder she doesn't want anybody to eat them, because then they're going to have trauma because they ate a child. I know.
Legend logic. This is one of those that we just have to chalk it up to legend logic, because I don't get it either. And so then, away from Norse mythology, during the medieval period, strawberries were often depicted in religious artwork. The 3-part strawberry leaf was used to represent the Holy Trinity. The 5-petaled flower of the strawberry plant represented the 5 wounds of Christ, and the downward-pointing fruit was representative of his blood. And then finally, on strawberries, there's an old wives' tale that is still popular today, actually, that if you find a double strawberry and split it with your crush, they will fall in love with you.
Aw, that's cute. Anywho, because I am allergic to strawberries, let's go into something I'm not allergic to. Mangoes.
Let's go to your favorite fruit. There we go.
It is with great honor that I get to speak of my favorite fruit, the mango. Every year during mango season, we get boxes of mangoes.
Ooh.
Just last year, my dad got 30 mangoes from a vendor and a friend. We did not know what to do with all the mangoes. We were like, Nettie, but what are you going to do with all these mangoes? He's like,
Send them to me.
I'm going to eat them.
Send them to me.
Well, there's the problem, too. If I ship them to you, they're not going to last.
I know.
I get it.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
We like to say here in Miami that if you don't get at least 1 or 2 free mangoes, you don't have real friends.
That is a great rule.
Yeah, I'm serious, because mangoes are a staple here. But to my surprise, mangoes are the native fruit of India.
Ooh, delicious.
In Hinduism, it is a sacred fruit, and the mango tree is seen as the tree of life.
Oh.
3 figures in Indian culture have stories with mangoes. Kamadeva, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, the god of love, created his bow out of the wood from a mango tree. In some tales, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and good fortune, emerges from the mango tree's branches. And finally, Shiva, the Hindu god, is believed to have meditated under the shade of a mango tree. The mango tree and all its components, leaves, branches, wood, and fruit, are special in Indian culture, and you will see many homes decorated with mango leaves and the fruit itself during ceremonies. Thanks to Kamadeva, mangoes are also shared between lovers as a sign of affection and are depicted in Indian literature as a metaphor for love.
See, I'm loving these romance fruits. We've had enough dead fruits. Let's have romance fruits.
Yeah, let's have romance. No dead people. In Hindu weddings, mango leaves are woven together to create torans, which are often placed at the entrance of the wedding venues and symbolize happiness and prosperity.
Aww.
Alex knows, to get to my heart, one delicious mango usually does the trick.
There's the secret. All right, so moving away from romance. Hey, are y'all tired of Greek myths yet? Because I've still got another Greek myth for you.
Oh, yeah, we got 2 more.
So, in the Odyssey, Odysseus and his men spent 12 years away at the Trojan War. Thanks, Eris. Afterwards, they begin their journey home to Ithaca. The journey home takes 8 years due to one misfortune after another. And fear not, we'll cover their voyage more in depth in a later episode.
And just FYI, it parallels that of Sinbad's quite a lot. If you missed the episode where we covered Sinbad's journey, check out episode 12.
It's the one right before this one. So, one of the first obstacles they encounter is on a seemingly harmless island. After 9 days of sailing with violent winds, Odysseus sees his ships have been pushed severely off course. The fleet stops at a strange island to find fresh water and gather food, and they are greeted by the natives. The people are friendly and mild-mannered, and they offer Odysseus and crew the fruit of the lotus tree to eat. However, the fruit causes a state of apathetic bliss, and as the men eat it, they lose interest in returning home. In fact, the more they eat, the more they begin to forget about their home and loved ones.
Oh, no.
So all they desire is to lie in the shade of the island trees and continue to eat the lotus fruit with the people who already live there. Odysseus manages to gather his crewmen and get them back onto the ships, and as they sail away, the effects of the lotus tree fruit dissipate. Today, the term lotus eater refers to people who spend their time in idle pleasure. There is debate as to what the fruit of the lotus tree was, since the Greek word used for lotus relates to several different plant species, so it could be anything.
Before I go into our last magical fruit thing that we're doing today, I did want to mention that if you like mooncakes, my favorite mooncake is the lotus seed paste mooncake.
Ooh.
And it is very delicious. I love to have it. It has the egg in the middle.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's chef's kiss. I love my mooncakes. I love them. All right. Finally, we get to the end. And this is not a magical fruit, but a horn that keeps all of the magical food and fruit and whatever else you want in it.
Ooh.
Time to put all our delicious fruits into the basket. Or perhaps into the cornucopia, aka horn of plenty.
Love it.
I'm getting good at this writing stuff.
So good.
Yeah. The cornucopia originates from Greek and Roman myths. One story involving Hercules, which I'm not even surprised about because this guy and Odysseus are like the star children of Greek mythology. Like, it's... tells of his battle with the shape-shifting river god Achilles. To win the hand of Princess Deianira, Achilles and Hercules battle, with Achilles shifting into a raging bull. In a triumphant win, Hercules snaps one of Achilles' horns off.
Ow.
He later gives it to the Naiads, who are the nymph goddesses of the river, and they turn it into a horn that would produce an abundance of food. I'd like to add that maybe Hercules should have let Achilles win since his beloved wife ends up being the reason for his demise in the future.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Oh, yeah. In another tale involving the creation of the Horn of Plenty, when Zeus was hidden away in Crete by his mother Rhea to save him from his daddy Kronos, who was eating all his children, he was fed the milk of a goat named Amalthea. Apparently, one time during lunch, Zeus broke off one of poor Amalthea's horns.
Oh.
But the horn became imbued with the power to be filled with whatever the one who held it desired. In later times, the cornucopia has been linked to good fortune and charity.
Aw.
What would you wish for the Horn of Plenty to grant you, Sarah? I want arroz con frijoles y yuca and sopita de pollo. Oh, and maifan, which are like noodles.
Yes.
And chasiu too, which is barbecue pork. I don't even know.
That sounds great. I want a really good prime rib in mine.
Ooh, that's
cooked
smart.
medium. Yes, I want shrimp and grits. I want pad thai. I want Penang curry. I want macaroni and cheese. I am so hungry now.
Yeah, I'm starving. Let's go into honorable mentions, shall we?
All right. So here are a few myths that we didn't quite get to that we just want to touch on briefly. So in Mexico, the god Quetzalcoatl stole the cocoa plant from his twin brother and gave it to the Toltecas, who were a people group similar to the Aztecs. Mm-hmm. He taught them how to cultivate the plant and prepare the special chocolate drink that only the gods had access to. In Egyptian mythology, Horus and Set were constantly fighting each other for the right to rule over the pantheon of Egyptian gods. And just as a quick note, generally speaking, Horus is generally the hero, Set is generally the villain. During one battle of wits, Horus and his mother Isis hide something vulgar in the lettuce leaves that Set loved to eat. We won't go into too much detail, but needless to say, to this day, lettuce is still considered to be an aphrodisiac in parts of the world.
Yeah, get it, lettuce. Okay.
In Native American traditions, the three sisters refers to the practice of planting corn, beans, and squash together, as the three all support each other. Yay, companion planting!
Yay!
In Iroquois legends, when Sky Woman fell to earth, she gave birth to a daughter. When that daughter gave birth to twin boys, she sadly died during the labor. Sky Woman buried her daughter, and from the daughter's grave sprang many plants that would feed the children of the earth, among them being corns, beans, and squash. In other legends, they were once three human sisters. The oldest provided structure for her sisters and became corn. The most giving sister became beans, as beans help replace nitrogen into the soil to the benefit of all surrounding plants. And the third sister became squash, with her leaves spreading out to protect the soil of the other sisters from harsh sun and from pests.
That is so sweet.
Right?
I love that. That's my favorite story right there.
That is a good one. Of course, the Greek gods always ate nectar and ambrosia, and there's still debate as to what those foods might be. I am not really inclined to believe that ambrosia is that like fluffy Cool Whip salad that is at every church potluck. But, and of course, beer and wine are everywhere in mythology, and we just don't have the time to cover all of that.
No, at all. But I will say I am so down for some beer and wine right now. Even though it's 12 in the afternoon. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
We still have work to do.
Yes, we do. Let's get into magic food in other media. We're just going to kind of name a few things right now. And later on, we'll give you the siren call. So real quick, James and the Giant Peach, directed by Henry Selick. Such a good movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah. The Cornucopia in the Hunger Games, written by Suzanne Collins. The books are way better.
Not as feel-good.
No, not as feel-good. This is not a feel-good until like the last book. Well, not even, because the last pages of the book, you're just like, I don't even know how to feel.
Yeah, it's like I've been through so much.
Yeah. We also have devil's fruit in the anime One Piece, particularly Luffy's gum fruit, which isn't what it seems. I won't spoil it for you, though. Go read that hefty-ass manga.
I will not. But speaking of manga, the Senzu bean in Dragon Ball, and then more magical films and everything, Peaches have a starring role in the film Labyrinth, directed by Jim Henson, but they're not granting immortality as much as they are granting a fever trip.
Oh, nice.
Cookies and Mushrooms in Alice in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll.
Which we don't suggest that you eat at the same time.
No, those are terrible, and they also have some weird magical side effects.
Oh.
The Imaginary Feast in 1991's Hook, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, I loved Robin Williams in that movie.
I miss him. I miss him so much. And then finally, Lembas Bread from The Lord of the Rings, written by J.R.R. Tolkien, which, if you are an elf, supposedly it will sustain you and keep hunger at bay for a long, long time. And if you're a hobbit, you eat 4 of them at once, and then you're asking where second breakfast is.
There you go. All right, guys. This was a hefty little episode that made us all hungry.
Right?
And because of that, we're going to end it with our siren call. Eat some dang fruit.
Eat that fruit.
But also enjoy 1996's James and the Giant Peach for some family-friendly, good-feeling times. It's really such a great movie.
It is so fun. It is
Makes
fun.
me cry every time.
Oh, I love it. So, everyone, have a wonderful Thanksgiving filled with food, friends, family. I hope everybody is able to get along and you're all able to enjoy and spend time with the ones you are grateful for.
And also for this Thanksgiving, we'd like to give thanks to you guys. We would not be here without you. So thank you so much. This Thanksgiving is for you. So,
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Story Sirens. You can follow us on Instagram at Story Sirens Podcast. Want to support us? Send us a cup of Ko-fi by searching ko-fi.com/storysirens. We've got lots of treats for those who become siren seekers. All research materials can be found in the episode summary. Music by Donald Guzzi and artwork by Alexis Torres. Story Sirens is a Feather and Fin production. See you soon.